What is shaking, everybody? Thank you very much for joining us. Our first post-game show of the season. We'll be doing those frequently on Sundays. My good friend Craig Bergman joining me. He was my teammate at Arizona. Also played quarterback at Arizona, played quarterback at Santa Clara, and won 4 state championships as a head coach of the Monta Vista Mustangs. What a fucking game, huh?
Wow. It snuck victory out of the jaws of defeat right there.
Holy smokes. I mean, wow. That game. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. Purdy had a really good game. I mean, look, he had no weapons.
Yeah.
Jennings out, Kittle out. Ayuk's going to be out for a while. Threw one bad pick. The first one, I've seen him make that throw before where he usually gets it over the linebacker. He didn't that time, but I mean, the defense was phenomenal. Special teams sucked, which special teams always sucks.
They weren't special.
They were not special. And they're definitely a short bus, special teams.
Yeah.
But other than that, just an incredible, like that's a gritty, gutty win where you on the road, divisional opponent, opening the season. Seattle usually does very, very well opening the season at home. Everything, and we'll get into it. That's a big time victory.
A huge victory. And like you said, with all the injuries, just to overcome that and come away with a W in week 1 on the road and in Seattle. Seattle's a hard place to play. You saw the crowd noise was affected them a little bit. I mean, you're playing in week 1. You haven't seen that all year. And to overcome the mistakes they made special teams wise and a couple of blunders on offense that cost them a little bit, but all in all, a W is a W.
I mean, look, it's first week. Even I'm going to make mistakes occasionally. I got Bergie the wrong beer. So what are you going to do? You do what you do. Offensively, right? Once Kittle goes out, and you noticed it first, we were sitting there watching the game, and Bergie's like, why does Kittle have his hat on? And I didn't think much of it, and I go, that's not good.
No.
And it wasn't good. And a hamstring, who knows how long hamstrings last?
Well, and it killed him in the red zone. You saw him, especially when they got inside the 10, just having his presence. First drive, they take it right down. They utilize him twice, score the touchdown. It looks like, hey, things are going to go well.
Yep.
When he goes out, they really bog down, and they've got to, hopefully this is just a tweak of a hamstring to get him back for next week. But, late in the game, we talked about backup tight ends not having any production, and here they go. They score the winning touchdown. So
Tonjes.
And we'll get to that, I'm sure, but that was just a tremendous play by him.
Yeah, no, incredible play. The Purdy throw Purdy made some great throws. And by the way, the Niners had a 154-yard edge in that game. So they dominated the game from a statistical standpoint, from a yards per play standpoint. Just when they got in the red zone, they weren't able to run it well enough. And then once Kittle went out, I mean, that he is your red zone target. And then Jennings is out. Like Pearsall's good. I like Pearsall. Pearsall isn't necessarily a guy that's going to really hurt you in the red zone. Not a big guy, not a physical guy. So that hurt him. And then, the special teams, but I thought they moved the ball pretty well up and down the field. Robinson looked good. McCaffrey looked good running the ball. In fact, the best play they had all day was probably the McCaffrey choice routes. Just send him out, let him go whatever way the defense is leveraged. You're going to go the opposite way. He was for all the people, and like all of us are still going to hold our breath every time McCaffrey touches the ball or takes the field. That's just the way it is until maybe we get to game 5 or 6. But you couldn't ask for a better version of Christian McCaffrey in game 1.
No, and I thought Shanahan did a great job of getting him some rest.
Yeah.
And we noticed that it seemed like if he touched the ball 2 plays in a row, they would immediately go to Robinson just to get him a little bit of a blow. In years past, you might see him touch it 5-6 times in a row.
Yep.
And that really contributes to a lot of the injuries he's had. So I think having Robinson there gave him a lot of confidence to put him in and to get McCaffrey a little bit rest.
Yeah. I thought Saleh did a really nice job. I thought the game plan was really good. Some of the blitzes they had, if they didn't get home, they forced Darnold to throw it maybe a little too soon. A couple of times, I think we both thought, especially toward the end, you might want to cover Jackson Smith and Jigba because he's the only guy that's catching the ball. I mean, if you're green, you can't go for the double move there.
No.
But Thank goodness for Darnold winding up and hitting his own offensive line.
That's you really see it. That's one of the things you look for in quarterbacks is a quick release. And when you're dropping the ball like that, that's one of the reasons you start at a young age of teaching kids not to drop it, because that kind of stuff can happen. And for it to happen in that particular situation, it's just, that's never good.
Yeah. You look at their run defense, and I've talked about this for the last 2 years. It just hasn't been good enough, not nearly good enough. Today, Charbonnet had 12 carries, 47 yards, 3.9 a clip. Walker had 10 carries, 20 yards. You can figure that one out. And then Darnold had a couple scrambles. But overall, the run defense was really, really good. The defense was really, really good. But that was the one thing I wanted to see this year. Do they have the horses? Do they have the depth to be able to stop the run? And so far, so good.
And we talked about Winter. Winter really stepped up today.
Winter
he was the defensive player of the game.
Yeah.
Made a lot. They tackled very well.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that last year they weren't great tacklers, and they'd miss a lot of tackles, and some of those 4-yard gains would turn into 8-yard gains. And today that didn't. And if that's a sign of things to come defensively, that's good, because tackling is all about effort. And it's just about getting as many guys to the ball as you can. And I saw a lot of people chasing the backside down and cleaning up those tackles that you didn't see last year.
Yeah. And give Purdy a ton of credit, because once Jennings went out and Kittle was out, that may be the worst wide receiver group in the NFL. And in the tight ends are nothing special. Although we'll get to the Tonjes catch. He had 2 really nice catches toward the end, but that wide receiver group, calling it thin would be a compliment.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, early in the game, Pearsall had a couple of nice catches. And then they hit Juwan Jennings on a quick out, maybe 8, 9, 10 yards. I don't think a receiver caught a ball from that second quarter to the fourth quarter. And they were utilizing McCaffrey out of the backfield so much.
Yep.
And then and Juszczyk had a couple of big plays, and he always does that. And that's one thing I got to give Shanahan a lot of credit, because he found a way to get his playmakers the ball.
Yep.
And obviously McCaffrey had a lot of touches, and he didn't bust out any really long plays. And he's notoriously been, known for having, 140, 50, 60-yard play.
Mm-hmm.
And he just took a lot of chunk plays today. And he had a lot of 6, 7, 8-yard catches, and because that's what they had to do. And they adapted to that. And half your playbook went out when Kittle goes down and Juwan Jennings goes down. So you really have to dig hard and find ways to get McCaffrey the ball, and they did.
Well, to your point, McCaffrey, 22 rushes, 69 yards, and 9 receptions for 73, a long of 22. And the long of 22 was the one where he got catapulted forward.
Yeah.
The guy hit him from behind and slingshotted him for 22 yards. Jennings had 2 catches.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Pearsall
had 4. That's your receiver room right there. 6 catches. Pearsall had 4. The big one at the end, where I'm not sure exactly what the Seahawks defender was thinking, kind of stopped there, and Pearsall took advantage of it. But that's what you have right now. I mean, you have Robinson will get back after the 3rd game. Hopefully Jennings is able to go next week. Not a surprise he got dinged up. He didn't practice at all. And then Ayuk, who knows, somewhere in the middle of the season. But once they have their horses, then that's a receiver group that you can go to battle with and you feel good about. Right now, it's just about piecemealing it together, and hopefully Kittle gets back soon, because if he doesn't get back, then you're like, you really got to rely on McCaffrey, and you really got to rely on Robinson. And
that's going to show. I mean, teams see it. They watch these games like a fine-tooth comb.
Yep.
They're going to defend them differently, knowing that the receivers really right now aren't a big part of the offense, and most of the offense is on the interior with McCaffrey, with Kittle, with Juszczyk, and they're going to do things to take those guys away and force the Niners to beat them with the receivers until they get healthy. You're right. With Ayuk out, your deep threat really isn't there, and you're just not getting any production out of Scandling right now. I know he's only been with him a couple of weeks, and he played a lot today. I don't even think he had a target.
No, I don't think so.
And he's a guy with a lot of experience. So hopefully he gets into the mold a little bit more, and he starts to understand the offense, because it is tough. That's a very tough offense to learn in the amount of time he's there. And then with Jennings going down, I'm sure that Scantling didn't get many reps in practice.
Yep.
So you're asking a lot of him, but I expect him to be a little bit better next week. I don't know what's going to happen with Jennings. We don't know what kind of injury that is, and with Kittle.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough sledding until they get those guys back, because the NFL, they adjust well to seeing what you're doing and how they're beating you.
Yeah. Like Jennings, 2 catches. Hair was on point, though. Purple Rain, Prince. I don't know. Looked good, though. How important is it? Now, McCaffrey did have 31 touches today. I mean, that is a shitload of touches for a guy that, maybe you don't want to overuse. You are right, though. It was like 2 until the last drive. It was 2 touches out, 2 touches out, and Robinson comes in. How big a deal was it that they get Robinson Jr. and have a competent backup running back that they can go to make sure that McCaffrey isn't in there like 80% of the snaps?
Well, I'm sure if you talk to Shanahan, he would say that's too many touches too. I would guarantee he would, but that's what the game called for because of the injuries. Got to win. And especially in the first game coming out, you want to get that momentum. I think that you're going to see Robinson get more touches as well. I think they'll utilize him a little bit like they are McCaffrey. He's good out of the backfield, catches the ball well. Once again, he's only been with them two weeks.
Yeah.
And for him to understand the whole intricacy of that offense is going to take him a while. But I expect him to get more touches. And obviously Kittle's going to take a lot of those touches away as well.
How big a deal is it for Saleh to be back?
Boy, look, what a difference. And I the tackling, like I said, it's infectious and it's about effort. And he's always got the most out of his defenses. For all his shortcomings as a head coach, there's none as a defensive coach. Yeah. And we've always said that. And they've lacked that really since, he and D'Amico were there.
Yep.
And they both brought the same energy, and they haven't had that since they left. And it showed it tonight.
Yeah, it just seems like Shanahan has a comfortability with him, a comfort level that he didn't have with Wilkes, that he didn't have with Sorensen. And you could just see it just wasn't quite there. With Saleh, it just feels like that's who he feels comfortable with. Like he trusts him to do what he does. And Saleh's the guy who's very emotional, kind of like D'Amico was. Ryan's on the sideline, like very energetic. Wilkes wasn't that guy. Sorensen wasn't that guy. Shanahan's not that guy. No. He's not super excited. Well, except when Moody misses field goals. Fuck! Like the first time I give him credit, he was like, and then the second one he just said, fuck. He was hot.
He said what we all said.
Yeah, he said what we all said. And I guarantee you, Niner fans, every time Moody came onto the field thereafter, your like butt was puckering. Like even on that extra point. Because if they don't get the extra point, then Seattle can kick a field goal at the end there. Now, they fumbled anyway before they got the 4th down. They could have kicked a field goal to tie the game. He makes the extra point. Is he back? I don't know.
Well, and that affected his play calling too, because
it really did.
They had the 4th down there in the third quarter where they had an opportunity probably at a 52, 53-yard field goal, which is definitely in his range. He's got a good leg. We know that, but zero confidence. So 4th and 2, he decides to go for it. They don't get it. And, when you're trying to decide, hey, should I go for it? Should I kick it? And you have no confidence in your kicker, man, that's tough as a head coach, because the other team feels that too. They know, hey, they're going to go for it. And so we just got to bear down and stop them. We're going to get good field position.
How loud was the collective fuck in the Bay Area when Moody doinked that first field goal?
23 yards.
23 yarder.
Shorter than that's shorter than an extra point.
What's that, about a 12-inch putt?
Yeah.
That's like missing a 12-inch putt.
I've seen you do that.
I have done it. Oh God.
But you're not getting paid that money to do it.
I hate when I do that. That's why they don't give them to me. They know you got to putt that out. Hit the bottom of the cup. So let's get to Tanja's catch. I mean, that was an amazing catch. I'm not sure it was a great throw by Purdy, because you could have tied the game there. Field goal ties the game there. And again, I think of his 2 picks, the second one was way more egregious, because that was just 4 guys were there and you're just praying at that point. The first one, I've seen him make that throw plenty of times, where he just gets it over the linebacker's fingertips and drops it into Ayuk. He tried to drop it into, I don't know, I think that was Jennings at that point. But he's made that throw. Like, he lives on that throw. He just didn't get it up. The linebacker sank a little bit more.
And if you watch it, it took Jennings a little bit longer to get there.
Yep.
And it forced Purdy to step up one extra hitch.
Remember, he stepped off his back foot.
And he threw it off his back foot, and then he couldn't get much zip on. He had to put it over the top. Good play by the defender.
Yep.
I mean, he kept sinking, and teams have seen him do that time and time again. And they know you got to keep sinking. You have to keep sinking when he's holding it, because he is going to try and find that hole between the safety and the linebacker, and the linebacker did a great job on that.
I would love to ask him, as he's rolling out for the game-winning touchdown to Tonjes, what the what the thought process was there, because he throws it up and Tongas, I think it's Tongas. He made an incredible play.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like a basketball player going for a rebound. Like he just came back to the ball and took it right away from the DB, because the DB was waiting for it right there. He wasn't going forward. Tongas was behind him, came forward, snatched it out of his hands, and touchdown. Game. Well, it wasn't game over at that point, but ultimately it was game over. That was an incredible play by him. But I don't know. Again, if you're down 4, you get it. You're down 3, you don't have to.
No.
I'm just wondering, like, what his thought process
Well,
was.
I'd be interested to hear what he have to say after that, because I'm not so sure he wasn't trying to throw it away and he made a poor throw, because he's rolling really full speed. He's moving to the sideline, and it's tough. But if you're going to throw it away, you got to throw it away. I mean, throw it 5 yards out of the end zone, but not a good decision. But at least he did put it in a situation where it was going to be a jump ball. It was going to be one of those 50-50 balls, because it was the 2 guys back there, and he attacked the ball.
Yeah, he did.
And if you're a young receiver and you're watching it, that's the kind of stuff you got to do at all levels. That ball's in the air, it's yours. Go get it. Don't wait for it. And you have just as much right with everybody. Yeah. It's just a 50-50 ball. Go get it. And we said, I wonder if that guy played basketball.
Yeah.
Because that's something a basketball player would do. But if you're going after a rebound and you don't wait for it to come down, you go get it. You attack it. And that's what he did.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this forever, and I hate talking about this because it's just, I love when we'll talk to Brent tomorrow. Brent Jones hates talking about special teams, and I hate talking about special teams, because special teams are like, they're like my foliage out here. It's like you just walk by it and it's there, and as long as my foliage doesn't trip me or do something stupid, it's just there. And yeah, good to see you. You're there. Yeah, I don't want to notice you. I don't want to notice special teams. That's all I did today was notice special teams. Like fumbled the punt, got it back, or just didn't handle it cleanly, didn't handle a kickoff cleanly, special teams penalties, missed field goals, blocked field goals where you can't block guys. It's just, I know, Shanahan's philosophy on that is just don't fuck it up, but they just continue to fuck it up. So I'm not sure if that's a good philosophy anymore. Like, I don't know. And I've been a guy that's like, hey, look, it's tough. You're a kicker. You're a 3rd-round draft pick. You're not going to say no to the money. So you're going to but it's tough because everybody's expecting you to make every single kick. I've kind of been a Moody, like, just pump the brakes on Moody. I don't know anymore. I'm thinking they might want to bring somebody in this week and say, look, because they had to release a guy because they were injured. They released their other kickers so they could keep other guys on the team. So he didn't really have any competition toward the end of camp. At this point, I'm like, bro, you gotta earn your supper now. Okay.
I know we've talked about his philosophy. I had the same philosophy as a coach as far as special team go. Just get the ball back to us. We're not going to do anything special, but there are certain things that you practice daily. And I guarantee you the 49ers practice PAT field goal on a daily basis, as well as your punt team. Those are the 2 most important special teams. And in Moody's defense, and this is not much of a defense, the first one was all on him. Yeah. All on him. He pushed it, bad kick, because it was a good hold, good snap, good protection. The second one, the wing back on the left and the tight end on the left kind of screwed that up. If you watch it, the tight end who's supposed to step down inside and protect his inside, but keep his outside foot right where it is, and he slides his foot, and it creates a gap for that seam for the guy to run through. And the wing back who's supposed to get what they call a double bump, he's supposed to bump the inside guy first and then turn to the outside guy. He spent no time on the inside guy. He went straight outside, and that just gave the guy a free run. I'm not so sure anybody would have got that kick off. He might have been a little slow kicking it, but I wouldn't put that one on him.
I agree. That's not on him.
But with his history, we put them all on him.
Everything's on him now.
And
everything's on him.
Yeah. Those are things I guarantee you they work on every day. And with the exception of the one block today, and I thinking back to last year, his kicks were usually just his fault. Yeah. I don't remember guys coming through and blocking them last year. I remember a lot of missed kicks, but and their punt team's always been good too. So they spend time on those. The kickoff return, the punt return, I guarantee you that's where he doesn't spend a lot of time. And I understand why. So just put a guy back there and catch it.
Just catch the ball. You don't even got to advance it. Just catch it clean. That's it. Just catch it. How much do you enjoy games like this as a coach? You win, but you have more than enough teaching points coming up the following week.
In the NFL, hey, any win you get
Big time.
is, I mean, everybody's
Big
so good
time.
and on the road. Especially Seattle, tough place to play.
So hard to
A
win.
lot of teaching moments, like you said. It's tough when you lose those guys, and there's going to be a lot of things that they're going to have to do this week to prepare their team to find a way to win if they don't have those weapons. And that's, like I said, tough sledding, because everybody knows McCaffrey's going to get his touches, and defenses can now key on him that much more if they don't have to worry about the outside guys. So until they get some more help on the outside, they're gonna have a hard time, and they're gonna have a lot of games like this where it's gonna come down to the end. It's gonna come down to a field goal. It's gonna come down to a defensive play. So as a coach, it's tough, but it's fun, because the challenge to try and get out and find a way to win. And I guarantee you that he's feeling really good about this win, because, hey, we got it done with smoke and mirrors. And even though we dominated the game, line of scrimmage, we had the time of possession was almost 2-1 in the first half, if not more. And to eke out a win with the mistakes they made, it's much easier to teach after a win than it is after a loss.
I'm trying to find the final time of possession, and if my phone worked, I could do that. We'll save that for later. So I got an idea. So depending on Jennings' availability next week, depending on Kittle's availability next week, you're looking around going, where do we go? I mean, of course, you have the running back tandem. You got Pearsall. And I got an idea. Like a good neighbor, Juszczyk is there. How about using Juszczyk even more? Like, I've always loved Juszczyk. He's just a football player, right? He's one of those guys, undersized fullback, but he's a really good lead blocker. He's got good hands, runs good routes, and he's a guy that defenses don't expect to come out of the backfield and catch the ball. And whenever they've asked him to do things, he's able to get it done. So I think that's a guy that if you're looking for kind of an undercover weapon, I think Juszczyk is a guy maybe in the next game or two until you get all the reinforcements back could certainly help out.
Oh, yeah. He's like another tight end.
Yeah.
Because he's not as tall as most tight ends, but he presents a problem for the defense because linebackers can't cover him. Just like, they have a hard time covering Kittle. And so I could see them designing some plays like they would a second tight end and using him as a second tight end, even though he's in the backfield. You can run a lot of the same plays with the fullback running the tight end routes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just another way to get one of your better athletes involved that they're not really accounting for. And I mean, when he's in the backfield, all eyes are on McCaffrey, not him. And the play action with him to the flat, they've leaked him out a few times on wheel routes, and he's always done a great job of catching the ball. That's a good option, and I'm sure that he's going to find ways to get him the ball more.
Yeah, I thought, and you mentioned it earlier, D. Winters had a spectacular game. I mean, he was like Dre Greenlaw without the violent hits and without the 15-yard penalty. Because those two things you're going to get with Greenlaw just about every game, every other game. You're going to get a 15-yard penalty, and you're going to get violent hits from Greenlaw. And I love Greenlaw because he brought the energy on the defensive end. So you don't really have that with Winters. But what you did have is a guy that was where he's supposed to be, making sure tackles and getting there fast, like getting to the ball fast. Warner, you don't worry about. Warner's a stud. He's one of the best in the business. So I thought the defense, I mean, Stout got caught on the PI or holding, whatever you want to call it, in the end zone on Cup. I mean, you can't grab the guy in his arms. You grabbed him, and then you looked at the official like, that should be a penalty. Okay, that should be a penalty. If you egregiously foul somebody and then you look at the ref like, what? If that's it.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw a flag.
It was definitely a penalty.
Oh,
the ball was thrown out of bounds, but it's a hold, which doesn't matter if it's uncatchable.
Grabbed him on the wrist.
I mean, I would have rather have him say, yeah, I held him because I thought he was going to catch the ball.
Yeah.
And, if it's going to save us a touchdown, yeah, you got to do that. But don't look at him and say, hey, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. What do you mean? I didn't hold him. Everybody in the world saw you hold him.
It was you. It was you. And I mean, Green, I mean, as far as I could tell, I haven't watched, and I'm probably not going to watch the all 22, but Green had that one great play on Jackson Smith and Jigba where he caught it and then he fought him to the ground and ripped it out. That was an incredible play. He did get beat on the double move late in the game, which wasn't, I mean, you don't want to get beat on a double move that late.
But in his defense there, the safety was really late getting over the top. And what a safety's supposed to do, he's supposed to read, in the coverage that they were in, which would look like a 2-deep man under type look.
Yeah.
When that number 2 receiver runs an underneath route, you're supposed to get off of him and get out and help number 1, which was Smith and Jigba. He was really late getting out there.
Yep.
And so I'm sure that Green was expecting help over the top. And so he was being a little bit more aggressive on the underneath route. Not an excuse for him on that, but that whole scheme there, I'm sure they're going to look at that, and that's what's going to happen. They're going to talk to the safety. They're going to say, hey, you got to be quicker getting over the top of that, because you're putting Green in a heck of a bind on that.
Yeah. I did get it to work. So possession, 38 minutes to 22 is what the Niners had in that game. So,
and that's with, if I'm not mistaken, Seattle's last drive where they kicked the field goal was about an 8-minute drive, 7 or 8 minute drive. That was their longest drive of the day.
Yeah, I mean, they dominated. 384 yards to 230, passing yards 265 to 145, rushing 119 to 84. Niners were 50% on third down, 7 for 14, 2 for 2 on fourth downs. They held the Seahawks to 3 for 10 on third downs. And let me just check Purdy's numbers if I could really quick.
And
here.
2 turnovers.
Yeah, Purdy had a couple picks. It was 26 for 35 for 277. 1 sack, ran the ball 5 times for 17 yards. So, yeah, again, there's a lot that's really good about this game. There's a lot that you're going to have to clean up, but holy shit. I mean, just a game that it looked like was going the opposite way. And we were going to come out here and talk about special teams, which they need to clean up. We're going to talk about lack of punch in the red zone, which obviously they need to clean up. But, you know, without Jennings, without Kittle, you only have so many damn options down there. But they didn't get it done in the red zone early. They didn't get it done in the red zone late. And again, that I won't say it's a miracle touchdown to Tonjes, but you know, it wasn't like a garden variety throw it in the end zone touchdown. That was like a holy shit. Oh, he got it. I was watching it with Bergman West, and we all like, holy shit, what a catch. That was an amazing catch. So it was tough. It was hard. It was gritty. And you're 1-0. Not only you 1-0, you're 1-0 in the division, and you're 1-0 in the division on the road, with
probably maybe the toughest place to play on the road in the division.
Yep.
I mean, not probably, it definitely is.
Yep.
You know, you go down to LA and they've got, Niners seem like they have a home field advantage at LA, and Arizona's not exactly a mecca for Cardinal football. So they don't. So they snuck a win out on the road in Seattle. Something that we brought up a stat. Chris Babcock, who works for the Niners, he told me that the Niners had not won in Seattle a 1:00 start in the last 7 times that they've played at 1:00. That's a long time.
That's a good stat.
The only time they've won is in the evening game, so they can knock that off the books now too. So
look at Babcock being useful.
I know.
How about that? I mean, that's things you don't expect while you're doing a show. Chris Babcock to be useful, and he was. Well done. All right, we'll take some comments if you want. If you want to ask some questions, we can certainly do that. We'll put it up on the screen. Let me enlarge the screen so I can see these things. I'm sitting back a little bit, and maybe Max can put them up there. Let's see, because now I'm not going to see them on the right-hand side. Oh, look at that. It really shows the beer, too. The beer is the tea. So you know why I like that beer.
Yes. He wants to see the Cavs.
Oh, don't go OnlyFans. Oh, no. Jesus, you're going to make everybody aroused. Early, we did our first,
haven't started that yet.
Our first show, yeah, I told Berge, I go, bro, if you want to make money, do an OnlyFans Cavs. You'll kill it, absolutely kill it. Like, don't interact with anybody because there are going to be some weird people.
I don't know who'd be on there. I'd put a mask on. I certainly wouldn't want to.
And the great thing about it, you don't even have to show your face.
No,
all you have to do is flex your calves. That I'm like, I'd be down for that. I'd be down for flexing. I'd accept my calves suck, and they're 2 different sizes. Only calves. There you go. we're all good to go. By the way, if you're out there and you're wagering on football and you decided to bet unders this week, congratulations. You cleaned the board. I think there were 2 games that went over. And if you were one of the ones that said, I think the highest scoring game of the week is going to be Pittsburgh and the Jets. Way to go, Nostradamus. No one had that being the highest scoring game of the week, and it wasn't even close. That game was just up and down from the get-go.
That shows you just a huge product of not playing your starters that much in the preseason too. When this is the first bit of big action that they're going to get, the timing's off because you're playing it at full speed for the first time. And defense is all about reaction. and running. And so it's much easier early in the season for a defense to get out and play than it is for an offense, because if you haven't worked under full pass protection and run routes against a DB full speed, and it's happens so quickly. So I'm not shocked. I am shocked at how many went under.
Yeah,
but usually
I think 2 games went over.
And usually the people who set the lines, they realize that too. And early in the year, lines are lower than they are later in the year when they start to click a little bit more on offense. But today was just crazy. Everything was low.
Every game was low, except for that game. I want to say there may have been one more game that went over. Ogden just sent me this. This is per Nick Wagner. Kyle Shanahan said there is no question, in quotes, no question that Jake Moody will remain the kicker this week.
That shocked me. I had the result had the result been different, I don't know if he'd say the same thing.
Moody, M-O-O-D-Y, Moody. Oh my God!
You know,
I was a Moody backer. I'm like 1 foot off the ship now. I'm just like, bro, you got to start. You got, like, if it's over 55, okay. Even 50-yarders, dudes are making 50-yarders.
It's a chip shot for them now.
Yeah, it's just like a wedge.
And Boswell kicked a 60-yarder that hit the top of the net.
60-yarder. Boswell just crushed it at the Meadowlands. So, yeah, I mean, you can't be missing 23-yard field goal. You just can't. Period. It's 23 yards. And you can't do it. Turf. A great day. There's no way you miss. I would say this 23-yard field goal in the NFL is got to be 97 percentile. I mean, it's got to be. That's it.
Maybe higher.
You might be right. You might be right.
There's a reason. There's a reason they moved the extra point back, because it was too easy.
Exactly.
And basically, what he missed was an extra point.
Yep.
And I understand why he's coming out and saying he definitely will be our kicker.
That's a good coach when you back.
And you have to give him, you got to give him confidence, because kickers are fragile. Yeah, they're very, very fragile, and for him to get a vote of confidence from the head coach will give him a little bit of a pick me up right there, and especially since they won. He did come back with a field goal, made his extra point fine, so he finished strong. And I'm really reaching for things positively to say about him right now. I've tried
already. This is also per Nick Wagner on Twitter, X. George Kittle hamstring, Jawan Jennings left shoulder, going to have MRIs and additional testing. Don't worry about the MRIs. Everybody gets MRIs on anything. You always get an MRI, just see what the severity is, and they'll know next 24, 48 hours. So, I mean, again, that's huge, because that's their red zone right there.
Yeah.
That's like their red zone passing game. Is Kittle and Jennings. So
and not only that, Jennings hasn't practiced at all.
Nope.
Which means he's probably not going to even if he plays next week, he won't be practicing this week. Kittle won't be practicing because with hamstring issues, the slightest twinge at all, that you got to stay off it, and it's just a matter of time. So I'd be shocked if he was hurt badly enough with his hamstring to miss the second half. It's going to be tough for him to come back next week. A hamstring, you don't push it because you can make it worse. And any quick movement, and he relies on that. That's what he relies on. He plays so hard.
Yeah.
He doesn't know anything other than full speed, which is why you love him.
Yeah.
But that comes back to haunt him as far as trying to come back from an injury like this.
I love that stat that the guys just put up. Purdy 6 for 6, 67 yards and a TD on the game-winning drive. Because that was, for those people, and there are those out there that still don't buy Purdy as a franchise quarterback. Like I've bought it for the last year and a half now. That if you have Ayuk and you have Debo and you have McCaffrey and you have Kittle and you have all these weapons, of course you're going to look good. Of course you're going to do well. Well, guess what? Super tough place to play. Really good defense. None of his weapons. And found a way to get it done at the end. Like, that was a big time drive. That was as big time as anybody could do it. Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, Herbert, who looked great, by the way. Anybody.
Without weapons.
Without weapons. So I don't want to hear the, he has to have weapons crowd. Maybe pipe down a little bit, has to have weapons crowd, because he didn't have weapons. And he let them, again, it's enormous, right? And I know the game seems bigger than it is because it's the first game of the season, divisional game, but it's a big game. There's only 17 of these things in a season. They're all big games. So to win a divisional road game in Seattle, crowd going ballistic, have none of your weapons and still get it done, that's a big time stat. Big time.
I doubt they'll play in a place that's harder to play the whole year. You know, that we've talked about their schedule. It's not the most difficult schedule. That is probably the toughest place to play that they're going to play all year. And to play them in week one without those weapons. And getting back to, you know, Shanahan, we talked about his script.
Yep.
And I've always been a big believer in his script. I think he does one of the finest jobs of scripting his first 15, 16 plays. And what did they do? They took it right down the field and they scored, true to form. And then, you know, part of it is, I think he struggles when he gets off the script, but today he didn't have much choice.
Yeah.
You know, he had to kind of scrounge. And one thing I did notice that he did more today of than he has in a long time is he did repeat some plays.
Yep.
You talked about the choice route to McCaffrey. He ran that probably 5 or 6 times. Years past, you might see it on the first drive and never see it again. But he realized we have to get him the ball, so we got to call it a little bit. And so I was really pleased to see him do that because he found a way to get him the ball. He found a way to get the ball down. I mean, Purdy, I can't say enough good things about him. 2 bad throws when you're asking him to do what he did. And we both talked about it in the last drive. I think if they do have this kind of situation with a lot of guys out, he's got to use his feet a little more and maybe pick up a few yards running. He's so good at it. And he did it a couple times today in the first half. He was very effective. He got a first down towards on the first drive, ran out of bounds at the 5-yard line, did a good job. And then we didn't see much of that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because of what was happening defensively, but I think he can do that and he can join and add that extra weapon in the next few weeks if they're going to be down guys.
You might be right. I'm looking right here at their schedule to see if that's going to be the toughest place they play next week. We will be there next week. We're going to be in Seattle next week.
Who dat?
Who dat, along with the other idiots. My buddy Steve Davidson and my brother is going. Jeffrey, if you're watching, which you're not, you're carrying all the bags. You're a rookie on the trip. Cardinals at home. Jaguars. I mean, it sets up pretty nice for a good start until you get some guys back. At Saints, home against the Cardinals, home against the Jags, at Rams, which is the worst home field advantage. The worst home field. At Buccaneers. That might be tough, but it's not going to be Seattle. At Texans, at Browns, at Colts. So, this may be the toughest place they play all year in terms of crowd noise, environment. Again, everybody's extra juiced up opening day.
Yeah.
They're extra juiced up for opening day. So, again, this one was it just seemed like an enormous – it's only one game, but it seemed like an enormous win where you're not behind the 8 ball already. And now you go to New Orleans, who could be the worst team in the NFL. Maybe you start off 2-0 and you're feeling pretty good about yourself before you ever go home.
Which the schedule is conducive to the injuries that they have. That's for sure.
Yep.
They're playing some teams that they can compete with regardless of who's playing.
Yep.
You were rattling off the stats, the defensive stats, how many yards they gave up rushing and passing.
Yeah.
That's a tremendous job.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed like they were knocking off a little bit on the ground, but really they didn't. They'd hit some 7-8 yard runs, but not many. They didn't string many good possessions together. The Niner defense was tremendous.
Yeah.
And I can't give them enough credit. They gave the opportunities back to the offense to do.
Yep.
I mean, the offense took advantage of it. They just didn't punch the ball in, but the time of possession shows that the defense kept the Seattle offense off the field.
Yep. So they had 71, Niners had 71 plays, ran 71 plays for 384 yards. So that's probably 5.2, 5.3 per play, somewhere around there. And then Seattle didn't run many plays at all. They ran 23, 35, 45, 48 plays for 230. So that's a little less than 5 yards per play.
And 23 plays different.
I know.
That's a huge deal at any level of football. In the NFL, it's almost Seattle is very lucky that this game was as close as it was.
Yeah.
With those numbers. If you just looked at the stats, you'd think this is a blowout game and not realizing you have to look at the red zone stats and how the Niners really didn't do well in the red zone, but time of possession and defensively, they dominated the game.
I mean, look, the Niners didn't blow Seattle away offensively. They're a little over 5 yards of play, which isn't great. Not terrible, not great, but their defense is really good. Under 5 yards of play, really, really good defensively. So 1-0, got a chance to go 2-0 next week in New Orleans. What else popped to you in week 1? Like I said, I thought Herbert was incredible. Herbert was fantastic on Friday night against Kansas City. I wonder if this is going to be the year maybe Kansas City starts heading down just a little bit. It's hard to bet against, Mahomes.
Well, he's dealing with the
Reed.
same situation at the wide receiver. I mean,
He
he's
has
got
Worthy
guys.
out.
Worthy got out in the
Rasheed
first
Rice
series.
won't be for 6-7 games.
Schuster's their only guy, and he's not really a speed demon.
Yeah.
So their lack of big play.
Well, they got Hollywood Brown.
And
he had a pretty good game.
He had a pretty good game, but I think they're getting a little older and a little bit longer in the tooth, and they've lost guys to free agency, because when you win that many times, people want to pluck your players. That's for sure, and that's what's happened. They can't pay them all. Niners dealt with that. They're still dealing with that a little bit. Who really popped out? Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he played well.
He played really well. He made good decisions. Took them right down. They kicked the field goal. They win it. But he had 4 touchdown passes, no interceptions. I think he threw for about 275, 280 yards. And we commented this. When's the last time you saw a game where the two quarterbacks were the two quarterbacks on the other team the previous year?
Exactly.
When they just basically flopped.
Yep.
And it was both of them. Both of them really wanted to stick it to the other team.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's for sure.
And Justin Fields looked great.
Justin Fields was fantastic.
He looked really good in that game. In fact, those were probably the two best quarterback performances. Yeah. Well, along with Herbert. And look, Dak was good too. I mean, Dak was good on Thursday night. CeeDee Lamb dropped like 2 balls, 2.5. Because that deep one where he reached out for, I bet you he said he should have. I bet you if you asked him, he would say, I should have caught it, even though it was a tough catch. The other 2 were right in his hands, so he just flat dropped. If CeeDee Lamb catches those balls, maybe Dallas is 1-0 right now.
They surprised me, and they came out prepared. They look well coached.
Yep.
I mean, the drops, that happens, usually not to him.
Yep.
CeeDee Lamb's been extremely reliable, but I thought they played well enough to win. That's for sure. And another guy that I think we kind of overlook a lot, but he's Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts has gotten better every year.
A leader. He's a winner.
He's a winner.
He's
and every year he gets better at something. Yep. When he first got in the league, wasn't a very good pocket passer. He's really improved his pocket passing, his decision making. He's always been able to beat people with his feet. So strong, hard to bring down. They're going to be a tough team. The whole year they're going to be a tough team to beat.
All right, Buccaneers get a 23-20 win in Atlanta. I know we've both come around on Baker Mayfield. Neither of us were Baker Mayfield guys when he was with Cleveland. Too many commercials, too much brand building, too much, hey, Baker's here, let me do, like, get the fuck off my TV, okay? Stop being on TV every commercial. Do something. And he really didn't. Although they did come within 5 points, I think, of beating Kansas City on the road in a playoff game. And then
his play is infectious,
but
too.
He's like a quarterback now. He's not like, I don't look at him and go, this guy's trying to build his brand. He's just like, I'm a quarterback. He's tough as shit. I guarantee you guys want to follow him. Like, I'm a Baker Mayfield guy.
And he can make all the throws. He does stuff with his feet. He takes big hits, bounces right up. He takes responsibility. I saw him multiple times today when he made a poor throw. Hey, that's on me, guy. That was totally on me. Yep. And that's the kind of leader you want. They're gonna have a good year with him.
Yeah. Look, if the Niners want to get the band completely back together, Mike McDaniel may be available at some point. I mean, the Dolphins stink. Oh my God!
There's a guy I watched how Shanahan found a way to get his playmakers the ball today.
Yeah.
I did not say when Tagovailoa got hurt last year and they still had Tyreek and Waddle, those guys never touched the ball.
Yeah.
And you got to find ways to get him the ball. And I was really impressed with Shanahan getting the ball to his guys today, the few that he had. And McDaniel does not do that. And that was an ugly game.
Liam Cohn goes 1-0 with the Jacksonville Jaguars as Bryce Young decided not to continue on with last year's. It looked like he was like the propulsion was taking him, and then no, it didn't. 18 for 35 for 154 yards. Carolina gets smacked 26-10. Congratulations, Ogden. Boy, Russell Wilson. About time to hang it up there.
Yeah, I think Jackson Dart's going to be making an appearance quicker than most people thought he would.
About time to maybe call it. Cardinals get a 20-13 victory in New Orleans. Ooh, good game. Bengals Browns 17-16. Bengals hang on to win that one.
It was a good game, to see.
It wasn't aesthetically
wasn't
pleasing.
a very
yeah.
fun game to watch.
No.
Not much offense.
No.
All these weapons that
Every
that
game
Cincinnati
was not much
has.
offense.
Well, I thought Geno Smith did a great job.
He did.
And I thought he played very well. The Raiders with a good win on the road.
Yep.
New England, they're rebuilding, but Vrabel's a good coach. He had them ready to play. That's a tough place to play there, too.
Yeah.
And to get a road win right there with the Raiders was a huge win.
I think Jacoby Myers may be the most underrated wide receiver in the league.
Yes.
You don't think much about him. That dude just puts up numbers, continually puts up numbers. And then Bowers, Genty did not have a very productive game. I'll get you his numbers right here. First game in the NFL, Genty 19 carries, 38 yards. I think he had like two receptions for 2 yards. But the Raiders get the 20-13 victory. Niners, who went over extensively, 17-13. Broncos, not super impressive, 20-13 over the Titans. But
I think you're going to see a lot of those games in the Broncos this year. I'm still not sold offensively on them. Their defense is tremendous, but I just don't see them as the type of team that's going to just rifle off 35, 40 points a game. I think you're going to see a lot of low-scoring games with them.
Think the Lions miss Ben Johnson? He scored 13 points, and I saw him with 6, so they must have scored a touchdown really, really late. 55 seconds count as late? I think it does. So they got demolished at Green Bay. I'd be curious to see how Detroit does without their 2 coordinators. Glenn goes to New York, Ben Johnson goes to Chicago, but boy, that offense, did they score 13 points at all last year? Well, they did.
And it's with the same guys.
Right
they didn't lose anybody. They still got all their weapons, and that the weapons are getting. They were young, and they're still getting better. And Green Bay's good though. I don't know if we're giving enough credit to Green Bay. I mean, I think that they've been under the rainbow, under the radar rainbow, under the radar a little bit.
Green Bay under the rainbow.
And Jordan Love played well. Jordan Love, he was really efficient. Because they didn't get a lot out of Josh Jacobs today on the ground. They did most of it through the air.
Rams 14-9, another low-scoring game. Bergie's guy,
my man, Nate Landman,
getting it done for the Rammy Whammies. Nate played for Bergie at Monte Vista, then went on to Colorado, and then the Falcons, and then the Rams.
Yep, he's a captain with the Rams. Plays every down. Came up with a big play at the end of the game. It was 14-9, and Atlanta's going down to score, and they hit a little pass to the receiver, and he made a great angle to the receiver and punched. I mean, you want to see a ball, watch that on ESPN tonight. He punches it out. And there's nobody better at that.
It was a right hook.
It was a right hook, and he hit it square, and the ball came out, and that sealed the game for him. So I'm really happy for him.
If he had hit him in the bicep, would have torn his bicep off the bone. That's how hard he punched it. All right, before we get out of here, and again, if you got comments, go ahead and throw them up there. We'll try to get to a couple of them. Any questions that you have? So what do you make of tonight's game? We got a good one tonight. We got the Ravens and the Bills tonight. And it was interesting because last year when the Ravens lost in the playoff game, everybody kept bringing up the Lamar Jackson can't get it done in the playoffs. And I was like, well, hell, if Mark Andrews caught that ball, maybe it goes to OT or maybe they go for 2 and win the game. I thought, look, Lamar Jackson had some moments in that game where not great. But that one was not on him. That was not on Lamar Jackson. They played more than well enough to win that game. I'm just wondering how does that affect this game, and what does it mean for both of those teams, the Bills and the Ravens? Obviously, you want to win because it's a good opponent, but does it mean anything psychologically, or is it just win a game and move on?
You know what? Those guys, they put it behind them. They have good wins, they have good losses, and they've got to move on to the next game, the next season. They're so good.
Yeah.
You're talking maybe 2 of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league going against each other. And Baltimore's defense is dynamite. I think it's going to hold true to form all these games going under. I see a low scoring game.
Yeah.
I worry a little bit about Buffalo with their they don't have a lot of speed on the outside. They're going to have to go make a lot of drives and whatnot, move the ball down the field, matriculate the ball down the field.
You know who I thought would be a bigger part of Buffalo's offense is Dalton Kincaid. He was incredible at Utah.
He was hurt though. He was hurt last year a lot. I mean, and they've got a 2 tight end system that they use a lot of. I think the key is going to be keeping Cook healthy.
Yeah.
Because if they keep him healthy, that's going to make it that much easier for Allen. Because
Yeah.
Allen's going to do his thing. He's going to run for his yards. He's going to make good throws. He's going to score a lot of touchdowns as they get in the red zone.
Yeah.
But he's able to do that because Cook can run the ball.
Yeah.
And if they keep him healthy, I think they'll have another good year. And it's going to come down to the same teams, I think, in the AFC.
Yeah.
And Baltimore's going to be up there, and Buffalo's going to be up there. And I still can't, until Kansas City proves they can't be, you have to put them up there.
All right. Get back to that previous question. You're scrolling through questions. We can't even answer them. It was basically, that was the first one. Your thoughts on Ricky Pearsall?
I thought he played well. He disappeared in the second and third quarters. We for a while we looked at it, so is he playing? We don't know if that's the scheme. What was being called, but he wasn't targeted at all in between those in the middle of the game. They targeted him in the first drive twice, and it was very effective, and they moved the ball right down the field. They targeted him in the last drive. They moved the ball right down the field. I think that they'll watch that on film and say, we have to find ways to get him the ball more like we do McCaffrey, because we can't just get it to one guy. And with him being healthy, he's a good route runner, catches the ball well, tough kid, and not afraid to catch the ball across the middle. I think you'll see him be involved more. Especially with all the injuries and all the wide receivers out right now, he's their go-to guy. I mean, and with Jennings being on the mend, maybe, I think he'll get a few more targets. That's for sure.
I think he set a record today. I'm not positive. I didn't look this up, but I think he had the most catches and most yards by a receiver on opening day that got shot the year before. Don't quote me on that one, but I would look into that one.
I would. You know what? I'd probably lay all my money on.
Yeah,
that.
I think that's a good one. Speaking of guys that got shot, Rob says, is Robinson going to get more snaps, or is he Kyle's break glass in case CMC gets injured? My answer would be both. I mean, I think he's there in case he gets injured, but I think he's going to get more snaps too.
I do too. We talked about it earlier. His lack of knowing the offense. You just can't learn that offense in 2 weeks, the ins and outs of it, and especially the protections. And I'm sure that's the biggest thing when you're a running back coming into a new offense, and Kyle's protections are pretty intricate.
Yeah,
you've got to know who you're going to block, and I guarantee you that's probably keeping him off the field more than he should be. But he's going to learn those things, and he's going to get better. He's going to understand those things. You're going to see more of him because they can't make a whole year with McCaffrey getting 31 touches. That's for sure.
All right, I'll let you take a stab at this first. Did you agree with Olsen, Greg Olsen, who was calling the game, the McDonald's should have went for it on 4th and 1 with 3-4 minutes left instead of kicking the field goal?
No, I didn't. I don't. I think that the Niners hadn't really moved the ball too much down the field. They got to the red zone. They have gotten to the red zone, but they bogged down in the red zone. They're missing all their red zone people. Kick the field goal there. They have no confidence in the kicker. San Francisco does. Go up 3. Your defense has done a great job of bending but not breaking because of the fact that the Niners didn't have those weapons. I think he made the right choice, and I think he'd probably do that 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would have kicked the field goal there, and my reasoning would have been they're averaging less than 5 yards a play. So it wasn't like their offense was clicking all game long, and they weren't really running the ball that well either. So I know it's a yard. I think it might have been a long yard, but still, in that situation, I'm going to go ahead and kick the field goal and make them try to get the ball back down the field. Because if you go for it and miss it, now they can really work the clock and put themselves in a situation where, hey, either we end up with a game-winning field goal or we go to overtime. We don't want to give the ball back to these guys. So I disagree. Look, we both grew up in the same era, so it never used to be this way, going for it on 4th down. You get used to it now.
Yeah.
Everybody goes for it on 4th down all the time. But in certain situations, it's okay to say, look, what's the game situation? This isn't a high-octane game, right? If it were like, let's say, the Jets and the Steelers, then go for it, because field goals don't mean much.
It's a flow of the game type of thing.
Field goals didn't mean much in that game. Field goals meant a lot in this game. 3 points was a big deal in this game. So, that's one that he'll probably get asked that question at the end of the game. But I would feel very confident in saying, look, I thought that was the best decision for our team, the way the game was going, the way our defense was playing. They didn't have Kittle. They didn't have Jennings. They didn't have their weapons. We're going to try to force them to get down the field and kick a field goal at the end of the game. And by the way, they don't have a kicker that they really trust at this moment, and he's probably inside his own head. So I agree with you. I kick the field goal there, go up, and make them beat us. It's like when you send a runner from third base, make them make the perfect relay.
Yeah.
Guess what? Sometimes they do make the perfect relay, and the Niners just bit them. And it wasn't easy, but they got it down there and got the touchdown.
Well, and if it weren't for a great catch at the end of the game from the 49ers, I mean, in reality, that was a poor decision with Purdy throwing that ball. It was 50-50 ball. But if that DB plays the ball like the tight end did, then he might make the pick. And we're all sitting here going, that was a stupid throw. Great decision to kick the field goal. So it's easy to second guess those things. In the flow of the game dictated kick the field goal, and I thought he did the right thing.
Neither of us agree with Olsen on that one. I mean, I love Greg Olsen. I think he's fantastic, but not on. I disagree with him on that one. Who is a better coach today, Kyle or Saleh? I don't. That he's the coach. I'm not the coach.
It's a combined effort.
They won, so they're both really good today.
Yeah, you know what? No, it's a complete effort. Not just those two. You got your position coaches. You know, somebody working with the tight end. Kittle goes down, you got to go with your backup. Who's the tight end coach? Because obviously did a great job of getting those guys ready to play. They stepped in. You know, who's the special teams coach? You know, they weren't quite ready. So it's a team effort. It's a coaching effort. I thought Saleh brought a lot of enthusiasm that we haven't seen. We talked about that earlier. Shanahan, I thought, did a great job of adjusting to what he had, and that's just a good coaching staff. And I thought they did a great job. I thought Seattle did too.
Yeah.
You know, McDonald, they can question him all they want, but he did a wonderful job with their defense was terrific. They bent, but they didn't break until the end. Their offense moved the ball. I think both teams are going to really work hard on their red zone offense, so that they can, you know, finish drives rather than having to settle for those field goals. And you know, it was a couple of fumbles on Seattle side, a couple of interceptions on the Niners side. You know, the turnovers are the things that win and lose games, and it was a dead even game as far as score goes, but the Niners dominated on paper.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we didn't even mention, because we mentioned obviously the Tonjes touchdown catch, which was awesome. How about the third down catch he made when he went down low and picked that thing off the turf? Now it was a penalty against the Seattle. I don't know if they'd have picked up the first down, but that was an incredible. That was a really nice.
Yeah, catch. It was an illegal. They had several. I think they had several illegal contact called on them. They had 3 or 4 of those, and there was one they declined it. The Niners did because they got the first down. But that was wasn't a great throw.
No,
because he had him wide open. But any catch that's made or any throw that's completed, in my book, is a good throw and good catch.
Absolutely, just like any win's a good win.
Yes.
Do you think Darnold can actually play well enough this season for the Seahawks to make the playoffs?
They've got to get more production out of their other receivers. I mean, Kupp's got to step up more.
Yeah.
And Jigba is a stud.
He's a stud.
I mean, everybody in the stadium, everybody on TV knew the ball was going to go to him, yet they still couldn't stop him. Kupp's got the ability to get more catches. He runs good routes. They've got to get him more involved. I think they're going to see that too, that we can't be this one-dimensional where we're going to throw it to Njigba. Yeah. I don't think they got much production out of their tight ends or any other receivers. So I mean, besides, Kupp got a couple of balls and Njigba caught all those balls.
Yep.
Running back wise, they're good.
They got to get more than they got today.
They have to get more than they got.
They're going to be a running and defense team.
Yeah, and Darnold, I think Darnold is a good game manager, and you know, he didn't make many mistakes today. You know, he didn't throw any interceptions. The fumble at the end was costly, that's for sure. But you know, I think he's a good quarterback, not a great quarterback, but they can win games with him, and I think they're going to win their share of games at home for sure.
Oh, look, there's no doubt he had a great year with the Vikings. O'Connell's one of the premier offensive coaches in the league. And you have Jefferson, and you have Addison, and you have Jones, and you have Hawkinson. Like, it was set up for him to succeed there. Okay, it's not going to be as easy with Seattle. You don't have the weapons. You don't have the offensive coach there. It's going to be a lot tougher. We'll see with Darnold. Is he going to be the Vikings Darnold? Is he going to be the Panthers Darnold? Is he going to be somewhere in between? That's probably what I would say. Probably somewhere in between. Still have O-line, special teams, kicker, corner, no pressures by the D-line. Still have problems. O-line. I thought the O-line was okay today. I mean, look, that's a really good Seattle defensive line. Leonard Williams is just a man. He's incredible. I didn't think the defensive line was bad. Special teams was garbage.
Yeah, I mean, offensive line. Anytime you have 71 offensive plays in an NFL game, your offensive line did something right, because that means you're running the ball well, and they did, and making they did what, 2 punts? I think we said 2 punts.
I think that's right.
And I thought the offensive line played pretty well. They gave Purdy ample time to throw. Once again, you're not going to get 5 seconds to throw in the NFL. If you get 3 seconds, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So I understand the defensive line pressures. I agree. They didn't get a lot of pressures. I think Bosa's got to step up a little bit more.
2 punts. You're right.
2 punts. And Bosa didn't put a lot of pressure on. He was there to fall on the ball at the end. And he was good enough, but they've got to get better. You're right. They've got to get more pressure. And I think that Saleh will dial up a few more blitzes than they have in the past couple of years.
Yep.
They didn't blitz much last year at all, and they were relying on their D-line. And if you don't blitz and you rely on your front 4 guys, you're going to have some troubles. You've got to if you can't get to them with 4, you got to bring 5, sometimes 6.
Yep.
And I think we're going to see that more.
Yeah, I'll go back and watch it again at some point, just because I didn't really focus on Micah Williams to see how he played. In fact, if somebody said, Tom, he didn't play, I'd have been like, oh, really? Oh, okay. I'm assuming he played. I didn't hear his name mentioned one time. Let me see. Did he make a tackle? I'm not even sure if he made a tackle. But that's not a terrible thing. He was never a guy that was going to be a big tackler anyway. I thought Siegel played well, the safety. Not one tackle. In fact, not a lot of tackles. Bosa had 6, Winters had 5, Siegel had 5, Warner 4, Pinnock 4, Green 2, Lenore 2. Don't know how to pronounce his name 2. Davis 1 and Stout 1. I mean, you can go back and nitpick anything you want to nitpick.
But you're not going to get a lot of tackles 49 plays either. And there's only 49
5
plays.
minutes to Sunday Night Football. I guess everybody wants to watch, huh? Should be a good one. I mean, it's probably going to end up being 17-14 because that's what the weekend has been. All right, we're going to get out of here. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for spending your Sunday with us. So we'll do this on Sundays after 9 o'clock. Or if the Niners play at 10, we probably won't do it until later on in the day. But that's still kind of to be determined. Next week we're going to be in New Orleans, so we may do something from New Orleans. I may bring the phone, and boy,
that might be
fucking.
ugly,
I mean, get censored if I have all those fucking goofballs there. Me, you, you, Davey, and Jeffrey. Jesus Christ! I mean, that could get ugly. So, we may do it from Sunday. We get back from the Superdome, and then Bergie and I will do shows up until October, and then he's going to do what rich people do. He's going to go to Australia for a month and go traipse around Australia.
High school football coaches, rich people.
In New Zealand for a month. So I may do a show. Maybe I'll have a sub for Berg. I'll just bring my son Weston, who played football. I'll bring Weston back.
We'll get Ratto. Ratto wants to come over.
Ratto doesn't want to come over on a Sunday. He's like, I don't want to spend my Sundays with you. And then after Bergie gets back, then we'll do Sundays. And then we'll maybe do Thursdays, Mondays, depending on when the Niners play throughout the rest of the season and hopefully on into the playoffs. So thank you very much for joining us, Berg. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate it.
Lots of fun.
And it's time for Sunday Night Football. Thanks for joining us, everybody. See ya.